Clara was not your average chicken. While her feathered sisters were content to spend the day scratching at the ground and gossiping about worms, Clara spent most of her time gazing across the big road at the edge of the farm. It shimmered in the sun like a gray ribbon, lined with white stripes and humming with distant motion. Beyond it stood a mysterious forest, its trees swaying like they were whispering secrets just out of reach. "Why do you always stare at that road?" Henrietta asked one day, fluffing her wings. "I want to know what's over there," Clara said dreamily. "I think something magical might be waiting." "Puffed," clucked old Roosty from the coop. "Only danger lives across that road. Fast cars and strange things in the trees." Clara blinked. She wasn't so sure. To her it looked like adventure. And maybe, just maybe, something wonderful. That night she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the road and what lay beyond it. When the morning sun rose warm and golden, Clara made up her mind. She tucked a few kernels of corn into a little cloth, tied it with a string, and packed it like a tiny satchel. Today was the day. She was going to cross the road. Clara trotted over to her friends one last time before setting off. Henrietta was the first to notice the satchel. "Wait, Clara, are you really doing it?" she gasped. "You're crossing the road." Clara nodded. "I need to know what's on the other side." "Don't be silly," clucked old Roosty. "No chicken has ever crossed and come back." "But maybe that's because they stayed," Clara said with a twinkle in her eye. Beaky, the youngest hen, hopped beside her. "I think you're brave," she whispered. "Bring back a story for us." "I promise," Clara said. "A good one." They all gathered in a feathery huddle, clucking softly and patting Clara on the wings. Even old Roosty gave her a slow nod. Clara took one last look at the coop, the dusty yard, and the cozy food bin. Then she turned toward the road. The sun was high. The sky was blue. The road waited. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. Clara reached the edge of the road. The grass stopped and the strange smoothness of the pavement began. It was warm under her feet. The white lines looked like ladders lying down. Cars zoomed past now and then, making the ground rumble. Vroom! Zip! Clara waited and watched. She remembered old Roosty's stories about tires and horns and tractors the size of barns. But then, the road grew quiet. No cars, no tractors. Just the wind and her tiny heartbeat. "Now or never," Clara whispered. She fluffed her wings and dashed forward. Pitter-pat, pitter-pat. Her little feet slapped the road. Her satchel bounced behind her. She reached the middle. She didn't stop. She kept going. And then, plump, she was on the other side. Clara stood in the grass, panting, her heart racing. She turned back and looked across the road at the farm. It looked smaller now. She had crossed. She had really done it. But ahead of her, the forest waited. Clara walked slowly under the trees. The sunlight flickered through the leaves, dancing on the ground like golden feathers. She heard birds she didn't recognize and smelled moss and mushrooms and damp earth. It was quiet, but not in a scary way. In a listening way. A squirrel darted by and paused to sniff her. "You're not from here," it said with a twitch of its tail. "I crossed the road," Clara said proudly. The squirrel blinked. "Then you're very brave. Or very curious." Clara smiled. "Maybe both." Further in, she found a tree with a big knot in the trunk. A pair of eyes blinked open. "Who are you?" came a soft voice. It was a wise old owl. "I'm Clara. I crossed the road today." The owl tilted his head. "Few dare. The forest is full of paths, some soft, some sharp. Keep your wings wide and your heart wise." Clara thanked him and continued on. The forest welcomed her, and her adventure had just begun. As the trees grew thicker, the light dimmed. Clara stepped carefully over roots and curled ferns. She was starting to wonder if she should stop and rest when she heard something move. Nap. Rustle. A figure appeared, sleek, red, with glowing eyes. "Fox." "Well, well," he said, licking his teeth. "A chicken. In my woods." Clara stood very still. "I'm not just any chicken. I crossed the road." The fox paused. "Did you now? I've never met a road-crossing hen." He circled her slowly. "Tell me, why should I let you pass?" Clara swallowed. "Because I'm on a journey. To learn, to grow, and to maybe tell others what I find." The fox sat down. "No one's ever said that to me." Then he did something unexpected. He bowed. "I'll let you go. But only because you made me curious too." Clara blinked. "Thank you," she said softly. "Walk carefully," the fox said. "The forest has teeth and tails." She nodded and moved on, her heart thudding, not with fear but wonder. Clara wandered deeper into the forest until she heard a gentle trickling sound. Rip, drizzle, gurgle. She followed it until she found a stream, clear and bright, bubbling over smooth stones. Tiny fish darted beneath the surface like little streaks of silver. As she stepped closer, the water seemed to hum a tune. Not a song she'd ever heard before, but one that made her feathers tingle. Brave little wanderer, feathered and small, crossed over the road to hear nature's call. Did the stream just sing to me? Clara asked aloud. A frog on a mossy stone croaked. Only to those who listen. Clara blinked. You can talk. Of course, said the frog. In the forest, everything speaks, if you stop and listen. Clara dipped her feet into the water. It was cool and crisp and made her feel lighter somehow. Would you like a ride? The frog asked. Hop on this lily pad. The stream can carry you a little farther. Clara looked at the large green pad. She'd never floated before. But then again, she'd never crossed a road either. With a tiny flap, she climbed aboard. The current pulled them gently downstream, the trees drifting by like a lullaby. For the first time, Clara didn't feel like a chicken out of place. She felt like part of something bigger. Night was falling as the stream slowed, and Clara stepped off the lily pad onto soft, glowing moss. A warm breeze whispered through the trees. All around her, tiny golden lights began to blink. Then dozens. Fireflies. Soon, the forest lit up with twinkling dots, like stars had come down to play. Clara followed the lights to a wide clearing, where animals were gathering. Rabbits in flower crowns, raccoons with tiny flutes, even a pair of shy deer with glowing antlers. What is this? She whispered. The Firefly Festival, said a raccoon with a glittery tail. It happens only once a year, when the moon is just right. But why me? Clara asked. Because you crossed the road, said the deer. And now you've crossed into something old and magical. The fireflies spun and danced, and music rose like mist. Clara found herself caught in the joy. She danced too, awkward little hops and flaps that made the other animals laugh kindly and join in. The owl from before perched overhead and hooted gently. Who would have guessed that a chicken would lead the dance? Clara felt warm all over, not just from the glow but from the joy of being part of something beautiful. She stayed until the fireflies blinked their last goodnights. The next morning, Clara awoke nestled in a bed of moss and petals, with a crown of firefly lights still balanced on her head. She yawned and stretched her wings. "I should go home," she said to herself. "Henrietta will be worried." The forest seemed to nod. Even the trees whispered farewell as she walked back through the winding paths. At the stream, the frog waved. "Come back again," he said. At the edge of the woods, the fox stepped out once more. "Did you find what you were looking for?" he asked. Clara thought for a moment. "I didn't find just one thing. I found friends, songs, stars, and stories." "Good," said the fox. "That's what roads are for. Not just crossing but discovering." He stepped aside. Clara clucked a thank you and walked to the roadside. It felt wider than before, but now she knew she could do it. She waited patiently just like the first time until the road was quiet. Clara took a deep breath. Ran. Pitter-pat. Cluck-cluck. Crossed the smooth gray road. The cars were still gone. The world was still holding its breath. She touched the soft grass of the farm again and looked back once more. The forest waved behind her in rustling leaves. And ahead of her, her coop, her friends, the smell of fresh corn. She hadn't forgotten anything. She had brought it all back, inside her. And then, Clara! Henrietta, Beaky, and even old Roosty rushed toward her, wings flapping, feathers flying. "You're back!" Beaky squeaked. "You really did it!" Henrietta cried. "I told them you would," said old Roosty, though Clara could tell he was hiding a happy tear. They surrounded her with clucks and hugs. "What was it like? Did you see anything scary? Did you meet a bear?" Clara laughed. "Even better. I met a singing stream, a dancing firefly festival, and a fox who let me go." Her friends stared. "And then, tell us everything." That night, under a blanket of stars, Clara sat with her flock in the coop. They snuggled into the hay, wide-eyed as she told every detail about the owl, the frog, the glowing moss, and the music that felt like dreams. "Clara," Beaky whispered, "why did you really cross the road?" Clara smiled. "To see what was waiting. And to come back with stories. Sometimes, the best part of an adventure is coming home and sharing it." The wind outside sang softly through the coop windows. Clara snuggled into her feathers. Her journey had changed her. The road was no longer a boundary. It was a bridge. And as the chickens dozed off, she whispered, "I think I'll cross it again someday." And when she did, she knew her friends would be waiting and listening.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the adventure, please give us a like, share with your friends, and hit that subscribe button to follow our channel for more magical stories. Join us next time for another exciting journey. Sweet dreams and see you soon.